Tonight, the deadly encounter between police and an escaped Bordelais prisoner. Dr. Stephen King adds his voice to calls for government to roll out a stimulus package for citizens. And authorities act to shut down businesses not in compliance with COVID-19 protocol. We have the details of these stories and more coming up.
This is the Hot 7 Nightly News with Lovelace and Amy Joseph.
Good night. It is Thursday, the 26th of March, 2020. Welcome to the Hot 7 TV Nightly News. We're on Flow Channel 117. The broadcast is also being simulcast on Kiss FM and on our Caribbean Hot FM mobile app. I'm lovely St. Amy Joseph. Thank you for joining us. On Thursday, the 26th of March, police were called to shut down a call center in the north of the island because workers were not following the social distance protocol that had been set. This follows the closure of a major retail store in the north of the island on Wednesday, the 25th. Prior to the closure on Thursday, Minister for Health and Wellness, Mary Isaac, urged the public to take seriously all protocols set out by officials and to cooperate with the police by reporting all businesses that are not complying. Genevieve Gonzague begins our reporting.
COVID-19 has been wreaking havoc all over the world. In an effort to mitigate the spread of the virus in St. Lucia, all non-essential businesses were asked to close up shop for a period of 2 weeks in the first instance. Businesses that would remain open were advised to practice social distancing. However, on Wednesday 25th March, officers were summoned to a major retail store in the north of the island because they failed to adhere to these protocols. Minister for Health, Mary Isaac, on Thursday 26th, urged the public to continue following all advisories and set protocols as they are established for the safety of the public.
It's always concerning when people do not adhere and comply with rules and regulations and so on, and legislation as well. But these people must realize and understand that they are putting themselves at risk and other people at risk.
Concerns were raised about certain call centers remaining open during the partial shutdown. Isaac, however, clarified the reason for them still being open.
Some of the call centers are open because we need those call centers open. We are actually training some of these people to be used for our 311 hotline. I am not aware that some of them are remaining open and that they are not practicing social distancing. If they are doing that, they should be called in because, you know, it is wrong. You understand? They are endangering people's lives and we should not accept that.
Less than 3 hours after the minister made this statement, we received a report that a call center in the north of the island was shut down for not complying with the COVID-19 and social distancing protocol. Reporting for Hot 7 News, I am Genevieve.
Thank you, Genevieve. An escaped prisoner who was considered armed and dangerous has been shot dead by police. Markin Markey was shot by police during an attempt to arrest him at the Dennery Beach. Police say they found an illegal firearm in his possession. Markey was one of 6 inmates who escaped from the Bordelais Correctional Facility on Saturday. The escape later led to a lockdown and a riot by the prisoners where they burnt mattresses at the facility. Former Chief Medical Officer Dr. Stephen King is calling on the government to take a page out of the books of other islands dealing with the COVID-19 crisis by implementing a stimulus package for citizens of St. Lucia. Dr. King says the fight goes beyond healthcare and he expresses confidence that this is a feat that can be achieved by the St. Lucian government. Rochelle Gonzalez reports.
Could St. Lucians soon be getting the small break that they've been in desperate need of whilst being held tightly in the grip of the global COVID-19 crisis? Well, former Chief Medical Officer Dr. Stephen King most certainly hopes so, and he believes that it is absolutely possible for the local powers that be to do so. With a number of regional administrations taking up the initiative of introducing stimulus packages to their citizens, Dr. King told Hot 7 News on Thursday morning that St. Lucia's government needs to follow suit as the crisis involves more than just health issues.
We're fighting one war, but the economic support is part of that war because the economic fallout is part of the casualty of dealing with COVID-19. So yes, we must address it. And I think there's certain fundamental things. There's financial security, there's food security, and there's physical security. These are key elements that need to be addressed. And so I do agree that we should be doing that, and we should be looking at how we can best achieve those objectives.
Dr. King said he has every belief that the powers that be are looking into creating and introducing a package for the people, and that the path has been paved to do so.
We have some templates that other countries have given, Grenada, etc., put out some nice templates. So, I mean, we can look at those templates and say, do they work for us? Should we modify them? Should we use them? But at the end of the day, we want our people to be part of this response and part of this war against this virus. So we must support them, because everybody's a soldier in this war. And so every soldier needs to be supported with the supplies that they need to fight this war. So, for instance, your water, your soap, your disinfectants, your food, all these things are important. And I think that we should be looking at it. Your rent, your loans, your mortgages, all the other things that we need for daily living. So I think, yes, we must look at it.
When asked whether he thinks a package can be afforded, this was his response.
I believe we have the capacity to do it. We have always have limited resources, but we always have the capacity to do enough to work for our people, together with our people. We always have that ability. We mightn't do as much as other countries, but we always have the ability to meet those needs. I'm confident of that.
In the past week, both the Barbadian and Grenadian prime ministers have announced the introduction of stimulus packages aimed at aiding their citizens as they continue to brace for the significant loss in revenue and increased expenditure. Reporting for Hot 7 News, I'm Rochelle Gonzalez.
In an address to the nation, the president of the Civil Service Association, CSA, Cyprian Montrope, reflected on the unfolding economic situation amid the COVID-19 pandemic and the resulting implications on the workforce. As the association prepares to navigate a period of uncertainty, Montrope called on lending authorities and services to exercise lenience with CSA members. Jacques Wooding tells us more.
President of the Civil Service Association, Cyprian Montrope, has asked members to take every necessary precaution to ensure that they are able to meet their basic needs as the economic impact of COVID-19 begins to hit. He noted the strain placed on employers as business activity continues to plummet and recognized that unemployment levels are likely to continue to rise. In a bid to ensure that members can save as much money as possible, he called on lending institutions, landlords, and service providers to adopt a compassionate posture towards the membership.
This pandemic has begun affecting employers financially, and austerity measures have begun in some quarters. Given this, we need to prepare ourselves for further eventualities. Given the possibilities for even more austerity measures, CSA is calling on lending agencies, property owners, individuals or companies to adopt a compassionate posture towards workers who may have lost their jobs or have to face pay cuts in the face of this crisis.
Montrope announced that members will continue to work unless operations are otherwise ceased by their employer or conditions are deemed dangerous to their health. He urged members to acknowledge COVID-19 protocols with seriousness and to adapt suggestions made by the Ministry of Health into their daily activities. He offered tips to ease the transition into the times ahead.
I urge you to do the following. Limit your spending to essential items. Practice conservation. Avoid wastage of goods and services. When not at work, avoid unnecessary or unwarranted movement from your homes. Social distancing has been identified as one of the measures to be used in limiting the spread and impact, and therefore I employ all of you to practice this as much as possible in your homes, community, and at work.
An announcement will soon be made to confirm the postponement of the CSA election slated for April. Montrope will continue his presidency until further notice. For 7 News, I am Jacques Wooding.
The official transitioning from the Victoria Hospital to the Owen King AU Hospital is expected to be completed on the 27th of March. The management of the facility say though the move was rushed, they have done their best and are as ready as possible for the switch. The hospital is going to house all patients formerly housed at Victoria Hospital, while Victoria Hospital will be transformed into a respiratory hospital. Genevieve Gonzague reports.
On Friday 27th March, all patients at the Victoria Hospital are expected to be transitioned to the OKAU Hospital. In order to gauge the readiness of this facility, we did a full tour.
The move is expedited, and the country is waiting with bated breath to see whether this can be pulled off to a degree of satisfaction that ensures the health of all. Transitioning Director Dr. Lisa Charles says her team has been hard at work to ensure the full transitioning to the OKEU hospital.
So I was brought on in July of last year to ensure that the facility, in particular Owen King EU Hospital, is ready for occupation. Although we were shooting for a move date somewhere in the summer, July, August, obviously COVID-19 has changed that, but we have had 9 months on the ground working to prepare this facility, and we have tackled pretty much every system within the building to ensure that we make sure that it is ready, prepared to accommodate our patients safely, and our staff, of course. So the 9 months have been very well spent. We have an incredibly competent maintenance team.
Dr. Charles explained that the hospital was fully ready for operation, and by Friday, all units will be operational.
Yes, the failing grade actually was not to do with the systems in the building. The way the failing grade was given, he counted the number of services that had moved into the hospital, and at the time it was 2 services, so 2 out of 10 is a failing grade. So as of Friday, we should have 10 out of 10 because every unit will be now within the Owen King EU Hospital, every patient care unit, that is.
Nursing Director Ruth Regis Adesanya answered questions on the competence of the nurses transitioning from Victoria Hospital to OKEU Hospital.
The nursing department has always been in the lead in the transition process. The preparation of this facility for what is expected to happen tomorrow has always been part of the functions of the nursing department. So for the past 8 years, we've been involved in developing plans, in implementing activities, all geared at us moving into this facility. So there is no question about the competence of our staff to function here.
Adesanya explained that nurses have been familiarizing themselves with the new equipment and says that while preparing for the move was not always easy, the nurses are very dedicated and excited to make the move. The Executive Director, Nancy Francis, explained that both the OKEU Hospital and the Victoria Hospital, which will now be the respiratory clinic, will be covered by employees.
Victoria Hospital, we have over 526 employees. So all of our employees will be coming over to OKUH. But we would appreciate that we also have to run the respiratory hospital over at Victoria Hospital, and the medical employees, they work on the shift system. So this is currently being arranged at the administrative level to ensure that we cover both hospitals.
Francis says everyone is engaged in the move as items from Victoria Hospital have to be transferred to OKEU. She says many new protocols will be implemented as this new hospital is to house more people than the previous one.
We will be implementing policies, standard operating procedures. We will strengthen on what we have. We will examine what currently exists, because we want to make sure that the service that we provide to the public is at the highest quality, and we are determined to make sure it happens.
We have just completed a very successful tour of the OKEU Hospital. From all indications, the transition tomorrow will go as expected.
Reporting for Hot 7 News, I am Genevieve Gonzalez.
Thank you, Genevieve. This is the Hot 7 TV Nightly News. Still to come, the president of the St. Lucia Medical and Dental Association says COVID-19 testing needs to be stepped up. The Attorney General defends and explains the need for a state of emergency. And Dr. King supports the declaration of a state of emergency. He tells us why. That and more coming up after the break.